Hello everyone, I have a very exciting video planned out for today. We're going to be running PRPs in parallel, both in Gemini CLI and in Claude Code in separate work trees. Really testing out what is Gemini capable of in PRPs here. I haven't ran a lot of PRPs with Gemini, so it's going to be kind of like a live test to see as well what it can do. A lot of you have been asking me about PRPs in general, Gemini, how to run it in something like Cursor or Gemini or Windsurf, and just showing that it is possible. But I'm also here to show you the difference and really the power of Claude Code. At least that's what I'm predicting, is that Claude Code is gonna be doing a little bit better than Gemini here. But it's gonna be interesting to see. So first of all, I just want to say to everyone who has been following me for the last week or so, and the huge response or the incredible feedback I've been getting for both my videos, but also the PRP framework in general. I've had something like 20 people messaging me with some amazing projects that they've built on top of PRP, and not only using PRP, but also building different UIs for PRPs, building automations for how to generate PRPs, and really just amazed to see how a lot of you seem to have embraced it and building some really cool stuff with the framework. But yeah, I'm going to be going over a little bit the starting point here, what we have to work with. So I've scaffolded out the project a little bit. It's Astro component library, so all of the components and everything is built in .astro or just pure, very clean TypeScript, or like Astro components, no hydration, no React, nothing like that. So everything should be built in .astro. That's one of the requirements. We have a theme. We can switch dark or light. So this is something that I built before. We have the colors set up. We have the typography set up, and we have also the icons set up. So we've given quite a good starting point here for both of the CLIs to do this properly. We have buttons, so see we have some pretty neat buttons here. So this is something that I built, I don't know, using PRPs. It went quite quickly, a couple of PRPs, and we had this entire setup. And yeah, you can see some pretty neat glass effects and stuff from these buttons. We really want to use this as a base to build all of the rest of the components that we'll build. So yeah, this is the starting point. It's a scaffolded project. Whenever you start using PRPs, I would not recommend you to start using PRPs on a brand new project without the scaffolding. You will have way better result if you actually have scaffolding in your project. So I'm gonna just show here a little bit around in the codebase what we have to work with. So we have a plan. The plan is to build a premium award-winning Astro theme with a rich set of components mirroring the existing button component, inspired by top themes at Astro build themes. So Astro has a bunch of these themes. The paid ones go for 100 euros a pop, or some subscriptions or something like that. So the idea here is that we build something that we can just reuse for any of our front-end projects, at least using Astro. The reason why I chose this to showcase as well is that I will be using Astro for both my personal website and my company website. So I will, if this succeeds, and if I can be bothered to finish the project, then this will be my base for at least my company website. And trying to build something useful while also showcasing this. The requirements we have is a 2-page minimum, a components page that showcases all of the variants of the components, build all atoms, molecules, and organisms required to build the premium theme, and also the home, which should have these components like showcased, built out in a neat way to like showcase the theme. And there is some why, impact, target. So these are things that I really recommend you add in your plans, like the pre-PRP stage. Before you give anything to the PRP system, make sure that you know the answer to a lot of these questions, the strategy, brand, personality, accessibility standards, who are we building it for? So this is also very important. So for SaaS founders, we're building it also for agency developers and also the backend, like your full stack developers that don't have front-end skills. or just like me that don't really like building front ends. So then, yeah, we have set up 2 work trees. So one for Claude Code to work in, one for Gemini to work in. We have some base setup here, components. We have our atoms, molecules, and organisms folders already created. So here the only thing we have is the button. It's a quite extensive button component. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they both handle this actually, because I haven't never tried anything like this with Claude Code either. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it handles this. But yeah, that's more or less it. We have an index page and we have these showcases. So this is just like how you register the components. We have the 2 work trees. There is a little bit of a different setup when you set it up for Gemini, since Gemini does not support slash commands. Let's look at the Claude Code one first. You can see the slash commands are all in the commands, and we use them from there. Whereas for Gemini, I put them in the template. And yeah, so basically they will be run as prompts. So rather than having the argument here, as we can see in the slash command, we will just pass it directly. So we're passing the plan file directly to Gemini. And when the plan is generated, we'll also pass the generated PRP in there before we run the execution. So that's the setup. As you can see, it's very easy to drop in PRPs into any of these tools. The only reason why it works, or it's scaffolded for a Claude Code is because it used these arguments and the slash commands. So it's very easy. But otherwise, you can just use them as regular prompts. In theory, you could also just drop in the plan here, just copy paste the plan in here without the path. But I think it's going to be more efficient using the path. And if it doesn't, I'll just try again and see what happens. I've booted up already. Both Claude Code on the right, Gemini on the left in YOLO mode for Gemini, and in dangerously script permission mode for Claude Code, just so that I don't have to babysit them. We also actually have a Gemini or a Claude.md and a Gemini.md here that also has some kind of Astro best practices in it. So yeah, we're going to use that as well. So for Gemini, all we really need to do here, like, I mean, that should be it, right? Do we need to activate it somehow? That's PRPs / why doesn't it find it now? That's stupid. Yeah, so this is one thing that I really don't like about Gemini CLI so far. It's like it's such a messy setup. I'm just gonna do that. Execute the instructions in this file. Let's try that. For Claude Code though, much simpler. All we really need to do is to PRP create. We can also do @ here. Let's not do that because I usually just do this, PRPs / templates / path.md, or sorry, plan.md. That should be it. Just gonna make sure that's where it is. Yes, it's actually not in the templates. Good that I checked. So we're gonna remove templates, just because I was reading from here. It confused me. Let's now kick them both off. So I'll kick these off both at the same time. I will put a little bit of a timer on and see when each of them are done. I'll let you know the results when I'm back. So I'm not going to pause the recording a bit and I'll come back when they're done. So I'm back here. Just want to show because Gemini just did something a little bit funny. So it told me, basically, it asked me to, or it said basically it understands the plan, but it outlines several components, right? And then it asked me if I want to create the PRP for only the navigation component. And then I said, no, I want you to generate the PRP for the entire plan. Then it gives me like a warning again and recommends me to do iteratively. So it wants me to just do one component. And then I just had to tell it again I really need you to do the entire plan. And it seems to comply now. So let's see what it does now. It goes off doing its research. Claude Code is already kind of chugging on, following the instruction without complaining. So yeah, I'll come back again when it's done. If you want more of a deep dive into PRPs, how to use them, how to run it, how to set it up in your code base, definitely check it out in my other video that I have. I'll link it there. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of videos in the future. Gemini is done. I don't know, took about 5-7 minutes, something like that, after it stopped complaining. It's right though, like, I mean, if we did this properly, of course we would want to do maybe one component at a time. it would make it way more reliable, but that's not what we're testing for here. So let's see what Gemini has created here as a plan for us. Full project plan.md. Full Astro component development plan. Seems to have actually done a pretty good job here at understanding the task. This PRP person AI generates all the necessary context and detailed blueprint to implement the full Astro component library, ensuring adherence to existing patterns. Success criteria. Yeah, it has understood. So all the components here, adherence to existing code-based conventions, exactly what we want. Documentation reference, so it references the button, that's perfect, exactly what we want. References all of the setup we have done here, so that's exactly what we want as well. So it doesn't have any outside of Codebase reference, and it's also missing actually, because I have actually helped it a little bit here, giving it a guide how to register new components in the index. So it's not using that. It probably should. I'm gonna not help it, but I mean, normally what I would do in this scenario, I would go in here and I would change everything I don't like. So that's something with PRP that you have to, it's never going to generate you a perfect PRP. You have to make sure that it actually says what you want it to say. But for this example here, I'm just going to let it run with whatever it does to see how good it is comparatively to Claude Code, right? Yeah, here I would just, copy this and paste it, just add the file and tell it why it needs it. So that's like kind of good practice to kind of always make sure that it's done it the way that you would like it to do it. Really comprehensive tree here. Also here's all of the new ones. Something that is a bit concerning with this plan though is that it doesn't really, it doesn't take exactly the structure in mind, right? But let's see how it does on implementation. A bunch of critical stuff. Yeah, some helpers, I guess, for how to use Astro, data models, follow button props, exactly what we want. I'm really interested to see how it did with the task section. That's usually the most important section. And let's see here. Set of component showcase rate. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want to see. Mirror structure of existing thing in our code base. For the basic layout, that's perfect, exactly what we want. Create a navigation component. Mirror structure pros of the pattern from button. This is exactly what we want. So I'm really impressed here with what Gemini has done with this actually. This is awesome already on the first two. Create a hero component, pricing. So you see like they're all following exactly the same pattern. So this is, I would say, perfect. And what is really neat about this is as this, you see it like as this is just doing the same thing over and over and over for each component, it's very recreatable. So you could very easily do what Gemini suggested and create one PRP for each component. And to make this even more efficient, you could then put all of those into however many tasks we have here, 8, right? So 8 tasks, 8 work trees, execute in parallel, go. You will have 8 components being built in parallel. That's what I do a lot, like especially if I do something that is like this repetitive. Just spin up work trees, send them off to do it, review it when it comes back, make sure it works, and then you're good to go, especially with simple stuff like this. It's also very useful when you build tools for an MCP server. Very, 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 very effective at following the pattern of the first tool. Build out your first thing, make it mirror that thing, and just do it over and over. It's given some pseudocode here, integration points, validation loops. So this is one of the most important things to look over. We really don't want things in here that's gonna like hang the CLI. So we don't really have a unit test set up. So I'm actually, do I run tests or should I not run tests? It's hard to decide here, right? Because I don't have a setup for that. I don't want to make it fail just because I haven't told it how to set it up. So I'm actually, I'm going to remove it from Claude as well, if it has it. And the same, now the integration we're going to keep, because it can actually run. Just name it level 2. And then we're going to name this level 3. Run build, exactly what we want. Run preview, that's what we want. Final validation checklist. Manual test. We don't want any manual tests. We can keep this. That's pretty good. Gemini has been done for a good while already. More than 7 minutes. And yeah, you can just see how much more research Claude Code is doing. But I also want to say that it doesn't necessarily mean that the execution will be better, that it does more research. The most tricky part about building the PRP framework through my months of testing it, as new models are released and you know all of these things and new tools, is that you want to pass the right context. You want in-time context. So you don't want to like just flood the context window with a bunch of context that is not needed, but you want to give it the kind of just-in-time context for when it's needed. And that's really the most tricky part, because you can make it create a PRP that's 10,000 lines long if you want to, but that's not really the case. I would say that this is, I'm really impressed. Like this is a good length, 500, 600, 1,000 a maximum, but it's not the lines of plan, the line of PRP isn't as important as splitting of tasks. So that's of course is one concern with this. It is a lot of components, and building one component is quite a large task. So that's more concerning than having a long file. So you really want to look for when you create PRPs, really you want to look for like self-contained tasks that are not going to like interact with each other, because the idea of it is that you should be able to run several in parallel. So they should be very self-contained, and that's kind of how I have tried to design them. But it's also very much how you use them, because it's very dependent on how you have set up your code base if you're going to be able to run them in parallel or not at all. I'm really impressed by the Gemini plan, and I'll be right back. Claude Code finally done. It took a good 30 minutes almost for Claude Code to finish the plan. It added the confidence score that we didn't get from Gemini. Let's open it up and see. So we're in the other work tree, Astro component library.md. Let's just do a little bit of comparison. But yeah, I think that the purpose here is a little bit better captured by Claude Code, because I mean, we shouldn't have to say this, right? That's not really necessary information right here. And Claude Code has kind of stripped that out. Okay, so build a premium Astro theme with 2 pages. Theme must be production ready, displaying all component variants. So yeah, here is also the all of these things that we need. Doesn't include the footer. Let's see how it's gonna do with that. Success criteria 6 new components. So it's like it doesn't really take everything into consideration here. That is interesting. Cloud Code usually don't skip things like that, but let's see. Something interesting that Cloud Code did here, it created docs for itself. How to use Astro 5 patterns, quite comprehensive file, and how to use class morphism with CSS. That's pretty interesting. I like that it does this, because that's kind of what I do manually a lot otherwise. Like I copy paste from the internet into the IADocs. Yeah, and you can see that it kind of references those as well. And you can see here as well the difference is that Claude Code actually has a lot of out of Codebase references to different URLs. I don't know, we didn't have any requirements that it has to be compatible with Mozilla, but you know, we'll take it, I guess. Looks like Claude Code also didn't use the file that I created before. That's strange. Usually it does. But yeah, here again, I will just add it manually. Current structure, not gonna go too deep into this. I like how it is very clear about what its purpose is. Badge card, yeah, so it's actually adding a lot of things. I don't like that it's not including the footer, but yeah, we'll see how it does here. Let's just see the task list. So here instead of mirror it says follow. I like the mirror pattern a lot more, and to be honest, I like the structure of all of these tasks. This is exactly kind of what we want to see. If you compare that, it's clear. There's not a lot of difference, but I kind of just like this. It's very clear. Let's see how it does. I'm not going to go too deep into those. I'm just going to see how many tasks we have here. So we have a lot more tasks. We have 12 versus 8, if I remember correctly. Exactly, so 12 tasks versus 8 tasks. And we have here the validation gates is all I'm going to really check next. But yeah, in general, you want a lot of validation gates. So the more validation gates you are, not the more validation gates, but the better quality validation gates you have, the more likely you are to succeed. Because the beauty of the validation gating is that if it fails, it will retry. AI will retry until it succeeds, or until at least it thinks that it has succeeded. So it's not perfect, of course, but it's very interesting how that works, and that's kind of how Claude Code works itself as well, running this validation if it errors out. That's really the whole agentic part of it all. Yeah, I think this looked great. So we're going to kick it off. So one extremely important thing, so between the generation of the PRP, so like the planning phase, if you will, and the execution phase where you write all of the code, you really want to clear. You do not want anything in context that is not needed there. That's the whole idea behind PRP, right? That it's giving you the exact amount of context that the execution agent will need to complete the work. So if I just ran the execute here on the same context window, it would be like overfed with context. It would take in too much into consideration. It will probably hallucinate just because of that. So what we really want to do is we want to like clear, or you can just do exit, right? So do exit, and then you just enter again. So I'm going to enter with the dangerous skip permissions here. I'm going to quit out of Gemini because I don't know how to clear that context window with the commands. I'm just going to do here. We should have it here, Gemini YOLO. And we should be able now to kick off Gemini. So what we do here, we take the plan relative path, we paste it into the argument slot, remove the tree specification. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take here, I'm going to reference this file here. I'm going to do @. Not sure if that actually worked before, but let's do it. Here, I'm just going to make it very simple. Execute. All we need here is PRP / Astro -component -library.md. No, that should be it. And let's kick this off. So let's kick off Claude Code. Let's kick off Gemini. Let's see. So now I'm just going to let these run now. I'm going to wait until both are done before I come back this time. So I want to show something pretty interesting here. We have been running for a good 30 minutes or so at this point. Let's just check. Claude Code is about to hit a context window here. So we are just at about 0. It hasn't started compacting yet, but it will any second. It's actually done with the implementation. Right now it's just fixing errors and validation. But what I think is really interesting though is that Gemini is still running. I was expecting Gemini to be done quite a while ago. And if we look at this is interesting. So we have in one prompt so far, and it's still going, managed to use 61% of Gemini's 1 million context window. And that is interesting. So Gemini has just done so much more, because it skipped a lot of the research stuff. I don't know if we can get to the top here, but it basically started, coding right away. It didn't do a lot of checking. It just read the component, started doing, and has been doing a lot of stuff for us here. Now, I don't know how good that's going to be, but it has been, it's really cracked. It's going on. So yeah, with the Claude Code here, a lot more extensive research done. This is all done in parallel, so that's what's neat about Claude Code. All of these are waves of parallel tasks that are just done in parallel, and then we can see a very detailed task list, and just chugging on as well. So I think both have so far I've been really impressed, especially by Gemini here. I expected Gemini to be done a while ago at this point, but yeah, look at that. It's just about done. So something like 30 minutes it took. So there is a 404 here. I'm not sure. Let's try to run this. Let's see what it's running. What's interesting, actually, something I want to show here. What is interesting about Claude Code and its context window is that if it's running it in a subtask, like a sub-agent, we're actually not using context. So it has been on 0 for quite a while still running all of these tasks here. So that's really interesting. It can like go on just a couple of percentages of context for a very long time if it uses its sub-agents. So I think that's worth exploring, and especially as you prompt, you can make it use that a lot. So here we can see actually what Gemini has created. So obviously the buttons is something that I had already kind of created, so that's like nothing new here. I'm gonna go back here. Let's look at the home first. Let's see what we have. We have some cards, some price plans. There is some, I mean, it's kind of neat, right? It's pretty neat looking cards. We don't have the toggle, like it kind of removed our toggle for the themes. I don't like that. But yeah, we cannot see the dark mode, which is disappointing. And but yeah, this looks neat. I mean, I'm not super happy about like the contrast, and it's like blending a little bit too much, but it's like one prompt and we can fix that. Yeah, I mean, it looks very like nice, even though like accessibility is not there. It's blending a little bit too much, but yeah, it's quite neat. I'm quite impressed with what Gemini has done here. And let's just look at the components slide. So here we have, okay, so here is what it has created. Navigation looks neat enough. It's very simple. Something that it hasn't done, it hasn't registered all of the components on the component side. So something I actually want to do here. So two things I kind of want to do. So here we can see also now it's compacting. It's going to continue though. I'm not too worried. I think it's going to, since we are in the validation stage already, it's just going to continue validating. I'm not too worried. I think it's going to finish pretty neatly, even though we have compacted. So yeah. So yeah, that's also something like when you run a PRP, it's rarely going to give you a perfect result on the first pass. You will still have to like follow up something usually. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here with Gemini at the moment, seeing if we can get it to work. I'm still very shocked actually at how long Gemini was going for. I wonder if I can make it use the entire context window in one prompt. I'm gonna attempt that for sure and just see how long it can go on for. Need some kind of large task for that, so I'll see what I come up with. But if anyone has any tips for what I can try it on, leave it down below. And yeah, we'll see how far we can push it. Let's see. Cloud Code should be done soon too. What's really weird with what Gemini has done here is that it has actually gone in and changed things in like the top here and removed some stuff. That is strange. Like, you know, it has removed the colors, the typography. It's unfair here a little bit because we go to the, like, I mean, if we go to our Z window, right? I'm just gonna open it here. We probably have a lot of the things actually implemented, but just not displayed, right? So if we'll take a look, we have components, yeah, so we have button, we have contact, hero, navigation, pricing, showcase. So I mean, we still have the colors and the theme. It's also renamed a bunch of things here. So I mean, if we look at the original structure, you know, we already had these files. So this is what we wanted it to use. We wanted it to like mirror this, right? But it's actually gone and renamed a bunch of directories, removed a bunch of directories. So that's kind of disappointing. We can confirm here that we still don't see any. Oh, look at that. Actually, that's neat. Now we have the, here we go. So, I mean, this looks neat. I think like the colors looks kind of neat. I'm still, you know, there is a lot of weird stuff going on here with the glass effects. I would want it to stand out a lot more. Again, I'm gonna have to rewrite that. I'll probably make a cut here. And here we go. Let's just ask it here what it does with that. Claude Code got ready. I'm just gonna spin up this localhost 24. So here we have a lot of more stuff we can see right away. There is some issues with colors and stuff. Theme works. I mean, that looks neat, right? Look at that background here. I mean, this is quite cool. It would have been cool if it's probably since I had already built the theme toggle Would have been nice if it included it into the menu or into the nav bar here. But yeah, it is what it is. This would be easy to fix as well with the contrast and stuff. It's just a prompt away, right? But yeah, look at this though. This is super neat. Oh, it even gives links to my GitHub. That's pretty cool. It has some neat texts here. Some nice little animations going on. Pretty neat pricing page. This is a little bit misaligned here. We have some badge here that's not showing. Most popular. But I mean, look at that. This is beautiful, right? We would want to have this fixed at the bottom, maybe. This looks neat. Also, again, main issue is like colors, right? But these stand out a lot better than the Gemini version. And this here, this is nice. It's a little bit, colors again that are not great. And it's like a little bit distracting, like with the flashing and stuff. But I mean, this is pretty cool. Let's look at the components. Here we have all of the colors. It has changed this wording, which is fine. And it has left all of this. So it's followed the instructions here really well. Buttons we have seen, but here we can see it's added the badge with all of the sizes. Pretty cool. Common use cases, cards. So yeah, it didn't give us a lot of nice variants of the card or like examples of the cards, but we could see them in the pricing. For example, padding options, surface effects. We have some glass, elevated surface. We have a lot of options here. Yeah, I mean, this is cool. Navigation. I mean, we can just change this, right, to one of the 100 options that we have, and we would have solved the issue we had in here, right? Would probably look a lot better with something like this or even that. So that's cool. We have some options for the hero. Could have been better displayed, but I mean, this one is one we use, right? We have a lot of variants of this here, which is pretty cool. But yeah, all of these kind of look cool. I would want to see what they look like if I change to them as well. Some content stuff here, pricing we had. These look great in my opinion. The only issue is with this badge. And let's see, yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of options here. Aligning these are not great, of course, but I mean, I don't know. I'm very impressed with this. This is extensive, right? We could just follow up a little bit with some prompts here to make these align better in the showcase. But I mean, come on, this is amazing. What has been created here in one prompt. We have all done all of this. And also in a prompt where we didn't validate what was written in the PRP. So that is also amazing. Like in a real scenario, we could have gone in and we could have made that PRP perfect before we ran it, and it would have been much better. If we run it again, we could prompt for these issues that we have with the colors, with the alignment issues, all of that stuff. We're 29% left of context here as well. We have written, 3 prompts, I think. So we made Gemini act quite agentic here. And I think that's like one of the main parts of this test as well, is we really wanted to see if we could make Gemini as agentic as Claude Code. And I think in a way, yes. Also keep in mind, we are running this on Flash. This is not the Pro model. So at some point it changed, right, to the Flash model because we hit context or rate limits or whatever. So I'm really excited about testing this out on the Pro model and really attempting to get it to run for a really long time reliably and see how we can do that through some clever prompting. Really impressed with what was created by Claude Code. Okay, so here we have at least, it has done some things, put the images back. This is Gemini again. So put back the colors, the typography, the buttons, and navigation. So it's nothing near what Claude Code did, right? There's some basic stuff here. I mean, this looks neat. There is still some neat stuff here. I'm not gonna bash Gemini CLI too hard here because I think it still did a great job, and I'm super impressed that it's still running. Like that it's still like chugging on and trying its best to figure things out there. Running builds and failing, I guess, and trying to fix issues. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna look into it right now. I think we have a pretty clear winner though, if we look at this. So if we take a look at the homepage again, and just, come on, this looks great. Both in dark and light, it looks pretty neat. This is kind of the style I want on my company website, like this blue, purplish kind of vibe. I'll definitely look into using this on my company website.